What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a new tutorial slash some coverage of a new package called requests-html. It's basically just a way for you to really quickly, easily parse some HTML. So it's written by the same person who wrote the requests library, so my expectations are high, but this is a very new package. It's been on GitHub for about a month, maybe a little over. So I would expect some rough edges, but let's check it out. So first of all, to install it, let's scroll on down to the bottom. To install it, you just pip install requests-html. You will need Python 3.6, or I'm assuming later, but right now the latest release of official Python is 3.6. So let's make sure you install it, and then let's go ahead and check it out. So to check it out, I'm going to be using the following web page. At least to start, it's just Python programming.net/parsememic-parseface. And basically it's got some text, a list, a table, it's got imagery, it's also inside of div tags just so you can kind of poke around with that. It's got some JavaScript tests, so if the JavaScript loads, it says look at you shining, and then if before it loads, its default is like why you bad though, I think. Then we've got some pre-tag information in here with the Zen of Python, and we've got a link down here, and then we've got some goofy looking characters here that it could throw you off. So with that, this is what we're going to start off by parsing. So coming back over here, it looks pretty simple. I'm just going to like copy and paste this and just remove the interactive interpreter dash things. So it should be that simple. So you can request.get. I'm going to pass in my own URL. You can feel free to use something else if you want. I'm just going to be exemplifying some of the things. I use this page because for this, it's the one page I can control what happens to it. It seems like every time I do a tutorial on literally anybody else's pages or with anybody else's APIs, they all get deprecated. They all change. So this one should be a rock. Now, so that starts your session. We get some stuff, and then we can start actually interacting with it. So again, I don't really know everything with this package, but generally when I check out a package, I mean, I'm not sure if he has like a documentation page. It doesn't look like he does. Let's see. Oh, maybe he does. Let's see what this looks like. It's pretty much the same thing. Ooh. For HTML. This is interesting. Pagination? That's more magical than I would have expected. That's incredible if that really is that simple to do pagination. Wow, that's not written up here. Okay, so anyway, that's interesting to say the least. So then you request the, oh my, and then you can just iterate over it. Oh, Jesus. That might work really well with Reddit. I'm curious to know if that works well on other websites. We'll have to test that maybe at the very end. You can use it without requests. So if you had downloaded maybe some HTML documents, you could then parse them. Yeah, this has a lot more explanation. Wow. Okay, cool. That's that pagination so far. That's just icing on the cake, man. I would think you'd have to find the link to it and then go to the link. The fact that the pagination, I'm sorry, that's just interesting. So back to the simplified version of the docs, though. All we need to do is we can just start referencing it. I'm pretty sure, as long as it's not JavaScript. So yeah, immediately we can just say, like for example, let's just do r dot. Well, first of all, let's print dir r. So let's just see all the things that we could do with it. Let me just pull this up. So immediately on the request, we could check, I guess, the encoding. I get apparent encoding. We can close the request. Cookies, encoding. I'm not sure what the difference between encoding and apparent encoding is. Check the headers, history. We can reference the HTML. We can check if it was a redirect. That's interesting. So it just automatically does redirect you, but you can find out if you've been redirected. That's interesting. JSON. I wonder if you would just pull it. I'm not sure if you say .json, like if it is, like if it's like some sort of API or something in the responses JSON, if you could say .json, it's a JSON object now. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that's all the links. That's if it's paginated, apparently, which is fascinating. Also, it'd be cool if it wasn't paginated. Like, I wonder if you could make some sort of crawler that just like automatically goes to any link and just keeps linking around. If anybody that's trying to build just like a web crawler, that's kind of an annoying thing to have to build. Okay, cool. So we've got text, URL, and then the HTML. So let's check out. Let's just check out .html. So first of all, I guess we'll print out the dir of .html as well. But let's just see. So we've got text, raw HTML, search. So we could search the HTML. I'm assuming links. Find all of the links. So like, for example, let's print r.html.links. See what that looks like. Okay, so it looks like it gives us a set. I guess that makes sense to give it a set just in case there's multiple of the same. I'm guessing that's a set. I don't know. We can type. It just looks like a set. Yeah, so it gives us a set of the links. What else could we print out? r.links. We've got r.html. Wasn't that a dir of r.html? Ooh, I think it's all formatted and beautiful for us. So what's the difference between HTML and raw HTML? Oh, yeah, okay, that gives us like the new lines and like all the tabs and spacing and stuff like that. Okay, okay. I'm not sure exactly why you would need to do that, but okay. So that's interesting. The other things, let's see. Let's check out find. You can find, it looks like the IDs. I'm not sure. Let me see if we have IDs here. I know at least we have probably the ID in the yes, no JS. I wonder if we can find that one. I'm just going to copy, paste r.find yes, no JS. Print about. Even though that's kind of bad words. Ah, darn it. Let's see. Probably .text. I'm just guessing. Nice. Okay, so that's how we could find it. I don't like what it's saying to me, but that's how we can find it. Which then brings me to the next curiosity I have, which is with the JavaScript rendering. So what's happening here, and first of all, let's just say, I don't know, JS test. We'll just copy that, paste that here, pull this up, save. Okay, so at least the whole point of this was to test if we could actually load JavaScript when we parsed things, since that was part of an older tutorial. But now with request HTML, apparently it's super simple. So let us check that out. So if we scroll on to the documents, it looks like basically all you got to do is just use .render. So let's go ahead. Basically, you're going to want to render it right after the request. So let's just paste that in there. So with JavaScript, the immediate return will be the base JavaScript, including like the actual JavaScript code. And in order to render JavaScript, you actually have a browser that runs it. Like that's how JavaScript works. Like you request to the server and the server just responds in just text, obviously. And then your browser is going to see, okay, here's some script. We want to run this script. So what you have to do in order to read elements inside of tags that are updated by JavaScript is you need to render it. And you also have to kind of wait a moment. You have to wait until it's done rendering. So that's kind of a tedious thing to build yourself, but apparently it's in here ready to go. So let's go ahead and run it. And let's see if it updates it. So on the first run, it looks like you have to install Chromium. So I guess it's going to download it. Download may take a few minutes. I hope it doesn't. I don't really want to wait that long. Maybe I'll pause it while we go. Oh, I think it's done. Okay, it's done. Okay, and it's just telling you where it extracted to. And we hit an error. Unable to remove temporary user data. Interesting. It did work though. This is the text right here that we were looking for. So like if we just kind of make some space here, because it's the errors in our way. It's probably like a permissions error, honestly. Anyway, yeah, that's what we were looking for, and that's indeed, if we come over here, so it definitely works. but for some reason we're getting an error when we attempt to remove the user data. So let's open up this file, the launcher. So at least in Sublime, it's really nice. You can just double click on the thing that errors and we can check it out. Okay, so in this internal method, we're trying to clean up some data, and they're using shutil remove tree. So it's trying to remove a directory. Basically, that's how you're going to remove directory with contents. So we saw where it went. It goes into users H, and then that. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so it goes in, here it is, and then if we go into there, we can see the contents, but for some reason we're unable to delete them. I'm going to guess it's a permissions error. One way we can confirm that is to not ignore errors. We'll set that to false, just in case anybody's like, oh, why would you ever ignore the errors? I think if you don't ignore the error, I think one of the errors is that the file directory has contents, and that'll stop it from working. If you ignore errors, it does work. But we also don't get to see the error, so let's go ahead and see, because things aren't working. But once it is working, once shutil does work for you, you actually kind of want to, access is denied. You actually do want to put ignore errors to true. So let me just set this to true again. So we're seeing here access is denied. We don't have the permissions. I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to open up an administrator to see if I can break that. Let me pause for a moment. Let me open it up and head to where we're working and see if we can use at least command prompt as administrator and see if this works. Okay, let's give it a shot. We're in the administrator control panel. Wow, it still can't remove it. We did get the info here though. But that's going to break any script that's running too, though. That's really quite the bummer. At least right now, the show must go on, so I'm going to continue. At least a short-term fix that I can think of. Why wouldn't that work? I'm pretty sure if you're on like Linux and you use sudo, though, that this wouldn't cause any problems for you. Maybe it's the location. I'm not really sure. I really can't decide why that won't delete. If somebody has a better idea, go for it. Otherwise, temporarily, one option we have is to just not raise the IO error. Don't raise the IO error. Instead, we could just print. We can just print unable to remove. Like we don't actually have to. We don't need to delete that file. We just would have liked to keep things clean. All right. Let's try again. Cool. Okay, so now it'll still at least print out to us that something went wrong, but we would be able to continue. So like if like for example, actually I'm not even sure. Moving along. That's kind of weird because the other print actually I think was working. So we are moving along. Maybe it wasn't. I thought there was space being made. That doesn't make any sense to me, though, if it would raise that error, why it would continue working. Wow, it actually does. Okay, magic. I guess we could leave the IO error there, to be honest, because it does. We're able to continue moving along. I don't know. If that's bothering you, though, you can get rid of it. Let's see what else we could do. So I'm curious to parse that table. Also, let's try to parse. Let's parse finance.yahoo.com. That sounds like a fun one. I'm pretty sure they block automated requests now. Okay, so what we can do is, like, if we go to Amazon.com, one of the things that I used to do is parse from here. And if we go to like probably statistics, right? There's all these statistics, and for a while they were just. I'm not even sure how they did it, to be honest. It must have not. It just wasn't with JavaScript. But now it is with JavaScript, and these values are not like static. They're updated via JavaScript. So now I'm kind of curious. I wonder how they did do it. Like, I guess you could, like, if you use like Jinja formatting, let's say, you wouldn't necessarily use JavaScript to update those values. So maybe that's it. Anyway, let's head to this page. Boom. And now what I'm curious about is like, can we find, I wonder if first.true, if we don't do that, if it'll find us a list. Like, so for example, what I'm going to be looking for is like, let me just do, I'm just going to go into the source code and I'm going to search for forward PE. So it looks like we could look for any table data, for example. Like, so like, what if we wanted to just find all table data? So probably we have to use a tag is my guess. Let's see if they have any tags here. So about.text, links, okay, find A. So this would be any, so I wonder if we could just do find TD, like find table data. About.html, about attributes, about.tag. I think you can just use .find in any bit of text. So let's try this. Let's say r.render, let's do print r.find. Let's find all the table data. Let me just see what we get, because I think we'd actually have to be table data.text probably. I'm not really sure. We're still going to see that stupid message too. HTML response object. So, oh, it probably has to be .html. Maybe it needs to be r. Oh, that's weird. R. Yeah, so it needs to be r.html.find probably. It's hard because they don't have just like searching purely HTML, but I'm pretty sure you need to do the HTML. Yeah. Cool. Wow, that's super neat. So you can get all the table data, and then in this case, what's super annoying with their table data in the Yahoo is each one has a unique, I'm pretty sure, or does have a unique class. They are actually all the same. Yeah, they're all the same class. Find table data. And I wonder if we can search for the class specifically too in request.html. .find. That would be interesting to know if we can do that. I'm sure you can. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, well, you have class at least there. Where's the where's that link to the full documentation? Oh, right here. Cool. Let's see if we can do a find first equals true. How about class? About.attributes. Like, I wonder if we can find specific classes. I'm sure there's a way. I'm just trying to figure out what the parameter would be. Wait. Oh. So could we say td dot? Let's just try. Let's try. Ooh, what about with the spaces though? I guess yeah. I don't think this is gonna work. I don't have high hopes for this one. I think it would find them if it didn't have spaces, but let's just see what happens, I guess. No. And now I don't even know what the other error was because we ran out of space apparently. Oh, maybe this is it. There just wasn't anything. Yeah, it looks like the parentheses threw it off. Bummer. Not really sure. I'm going to go ahead and move along from that one, but that's interesting. We're probably going beyond what it intended us to use this for. Let me see if any of these have a class real quick. Like, I bet I can do... And maybe that dot was for the ID. I'm not sure. Let's go back to parse mimic parse face. Just curious. Find, I want to find all the div tags. Div.modal class. Oh, we really don't need to render it anymore. That way we won't have to see that error anymore. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, let's just do that. So if you wanted to find all the, like, of a specific class, you would use dot. Cool. Okay. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. This is probably getting pretty long. That's just me kind of poking around with the library. If you have any questions or something like that, feel free to share. If you've got some cool things that you found about it, you can share that too. I'm also pretty curious with the Reddit thing. I take its word for it. I'm trying to think of something real quick that we could search for the pagination. I just want to see that work on everything. I just don't understand how you could know that it was pagination. I just can't think of something that I could search real quick that has pagination to it. But I wouldn't mind poking around with that. I'm going to guess it works at least on Reddit. But how would they know? How do they know about the pagination? Intelligent pagination support, always improving. So I'm guessing it doesn't always work. What if we did, what is it? Let's do Hacker News. That's got some pagination to it. So what if we go to news.ycombinator.com, and then let's see how they did it. So they're just saying r.html.next. So what if I say this, r.html.next, print. Nope. Really? Has no attribute next. Let's check Reddit real quick. Let's see if that one worked. That's kind of weird. Why wouldn't... No, that one doesn't work either. Well, then I'm not sure. For r.html. Let's see if this one works. Look, I'm just trying to do the example that they've got posted now. For HTML. Let's just do this. Go away. Whoops. What did I do wrong? R equals session.get. R equals session.get. Yeah, Reddit. And then this 2 lines. Oh, don't forget that. There it goes. So it gets the initial one, and it definitely is getting the pages. And I guess each time it goes to that page to get the next one, which is interesting. So it definitely knows that pagination. Let's try again on Hacker News, because the next operator thing doesn't appear to be working. Oh, started to work, and then it failed. So we got to page 2, and then it went to CNBC. So I think it just picked the wrong page. So he started here, and then we go, probably it found page 2, which was smart. And then somehow I got stuck on CNBC. Not sure why. So, okay, the page, okay. It sounded too good to be true, and I think it is. But hopefully over time it'll improve, and that'll be like, that's pretty cool. Anyway, I think now's a good time to stop. I mostly ran into the edges of this package, but for simple HTML parsing and stuff like that, this clearly is super useful. You won't need to use Beautiful Soup and stuff like that, but at least we found some issues with the JavaScript thing. It just can't seem to delete that your temporary directory, so eventually you'd probably have to go in there and delete it just manually. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of what else. Obviously, like the iteration didn't really work, but still the rendering actually worked, and I'm not sure you would hit that issue on Linux. So just the fact that I'm on Windows could be responsible for that issue. And then the pagination, I mean, come on. That's really hard. I'm surprised that they're even trying to do that, but cool. At least it works on Reddit. Too bad Reddit has an API. I'd probably rather use that than paginate through them. Other than that, I think that's it. Like the search is super useful, super quick, super simple. Yeah, so pretty cool package. If you need to parse HTML, I think this would be the way that I would suggest you go. But yeah, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in another video.